It's 2 minutes past 1. The Two Mics podcast here, which goes down very well actually. So it might be good for both of us, Andy. Yeah, our podcasts.
But their listeners will be expecting us to say things like "you're fat,"
"you idiot, I hate you," "Uruguay doesn't exist," things like that. Anyway, look, it's Max Rushden and Andy Jacobs. We did a show. We didn't plan a whole lot, and we had a nice time.
Yeah,
and we don't.
Quite fun,
we don't want to do a big intro because the Palace Chelsea game's still on. You want to watch it?
I do really.
All right, so here's the best bits of the show. Have a great day. Good morning, everybody. This is the world's biggest sports radio station. It's Talk
Don't
Sports.
forget that.
Don't forget, whatever you do, don't forget this is the world's... Although there must be a bigger one in China. I'm convinced of that. We just don't know about it yet.
You and I are planning to open our own Talk Sport in China. We've got it all worked out.
We get like $100,000 a week.
Probably more, I'd
say. The most observant of you will have noticed that I am not Mike Graham. Well, who sits in this chair, Graham or Parry?
Graham, he's in control.
So,
Parry plays my role, the kind of idiot.
Okay. So the two Mikes are not here.
Yeah.
But obviously, you've heard the trails for the Saturday warm-up. It's all about high-octane enthusiasm for game day. So
I'm very excited.
You're pumped, aren't you?
I'm very pumped because it's Chelsea against Palace. I think it's going to be a tremendous game. I'm looking forward to the team news. I'm looking forward to the match. I'm going to watch the rest of the game here. So yes, you might lose me for the last half hour, especially if Palace score early. It could be lethal.
I'd written these questions. This is just is Max Rushden and Andy Jacobs unplanned. Andy's done, as he said before, I'm not just here for the money today, but I've done absolutely no preparation whatsoever.
Well, I'm known for my preparation, not by
meticulous.
Yeah, in the trade, not the listeners haven't got a clue.
What do you mean in the trade, like Alan Yentob?
The listeners haven't got a clue. They think basically I turn up and just have laugh at Paul's jokes, which intrinsically I do.
And quite an infectious sort of low giggle you have,
bad, really.
Andy,
But to go along with that, I do a lot of preparation. I start at 7 o'clock in the morning. I sort of cut stories out. I do 15 minutes of topical jokes at the top of the show.
So I instantly thought you'd have that. And sort of this bit.
Bit,
I was like going to say, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Andy. And then just sit back and enjoy it like Paul does.
No, but I'm saving that till Monday. I don't want to waste it.
Oh, okay. These aren't your listening figures. They're not mine either, Andy. It doesn't bother me. I did write this. I did have one question, which is, it's an early kickoff for you.
Yeah. And
early kickoffs, and they're often damp squibs, aren't they?
I think it's a bit of a myth, that. I think lately they've been less damp squibbish, although the Chelsea-West Brom game was an absolute stinker, but the City-Chelsea game was probably the game of the season,
so wasn't it? They've been less damp squibbish than normal.
Or as who was it yesterday? Was it Mickey Gray or somebody on Clips of the Week? Damp cloth.
It was a damp cloth.
Yeah.
But has that changed your preparation? I wonder if you got up 2 hours earlier, went for your walk with the squad before.
Not really. I got up, especially early, because I wanted to have my hair cut because it was looking a bit long. And
really?
It's a bit surprising, isn't it? Really, there's none there. But so I did that. Then I sort of caught a train and discovered the train was only going 2 stops.
Oh, really?
So then I had to get a cab, which is eaten into the fee. I'm quite upset about the whole thing, really.
Doing it for nothing now. Can you claim that back?
Well, I could, but it's tricky, really, isn't it? I don't think you can, actually. You can't claim going to and from your place of work.
Can you not?
No, I don't think so.
Unless it would be like a front page splash on the Daily Mail, wouldn't it? Jacobs caught in tax. You've invested. It's like investing in a film scheme. That's what you've done. You claim to be a man of the people.
20 quid for cab fare. No, I don't think I have.
And what would a normal Jacobs Saturday morning be? Where would we find you? Not if you weren't in this airless room.
Well, normally I go shopping. I like to do the food shopping for the week.
Do you? Okay. Which supermarket do you go to?
Well, I go to M&S. I go to Waitrose. I'm a bit middle class.
Yeah,
I do the odd Sainsbury's, if you must know. And then I go and have a Spanish lesson with my Argentinian Spanish teacher. We talk about football and matters of such. In Spanish.
Who's your Argentinian Spanish teacher?
Mariana.
Okay.
Yes. I had to put her off today, but there you go.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. And nothing's going on? Nothing's going on there?
No,
it's a platonic.
Oh, for goodness sake. She's a happily married woman, and so am I, a happily
I'm just
married
thinking of the next page. There's going to be a week of exclusives.
On the
First, he cheats on a taxi fare.
Cheats with language teacher. Thanks.
And now him and Mariana getting up to no good whatsoever. Chelsea kick off at midday,
yes,
Andy.
They do.
We are on air until 1. So there is a half hour.
It's a bit period. Of an overspill, yeah. Of an overhang, I must say.
Did you notice when you agreed to do it? Because what happened, the two mics were off and they called me and said, Max, could you do it? Well, and I was like,
in an ideal world, this show should end at 12:30. Let's be honest.
Can we do that?
No, we can't.
Can we just for half an hour? It'll be a bit like the red button commentary of the red button commentary of the Palace Chelsea game. It would be a bit like if Andy and I were to meet at one of our houses and watch the game. Yeah. So we won't be broadcasting to you. We'll just be having a chat about each other's lives and occasionally going, "Oh, I don't think Matic should have done that." Is he missing Matic?
No, I think he might play today. We'll see.
So it's totally unplanned. Derek from Dublin says you can claim your travel if you're a mobile worker, Andy. Fill your boots, Andy. Are you a mobile worker?
Well, I'm
you tend to work in the same. I mean, I don't think it's that.
I get up between breaks.
Okay, that's true.
Well, I don't like to get DVTs.
Okay,
you sit in one place.
Do some squats in the corner in the ad break, do you? So listen, it's totally unplanned.
Yes,
this show. So unplanned. Know. If you remember, didn't Frank Skinner do a totally unplanned show?
Well, Frank and Dave used to do
always
unplanned.
Sure, it was.
No, it was totally unplanned. It was. I can vouch for that. Yeah.
Okay, well, and also I sometimes get the feeling the two mic show is completely unplanned. So in many ways,
I'd say their whole lives are completely unplanned. Really,
I sort of think Mike Parry is continually doing a radio show. He just happens to be in a studio for sort of 3 hours of the day, and then he just carries on doing the show.
That's about right.
Round and about. So look, ask us anything you text us 81089 or on my Twitter at Max Rushden. We'll read out, will we? And we'll deal with whatever question is thrown at us.
You quite like that. You're a bit of a masochist. I mean, I watch you on your timeline. People say the most vile things to you. And you say, "Oh, not a fan then," or something. Thanks very much for your kind words and stuff like that.
Well, interesting.
And I think you must be crying secretly.
Well, you mentioned that. There's a guy called Mark Gormley who was insulting me for fantasy football, which was on at 9 this morning. With Joe Cole was on, who was brilliant. Actually, he was a brilliant guest. And I came off there thinking, what a great show. Mark Gormley didn't think so. He said my patter was miserable or something. Said me and Merce mix like water and oil. And then he just said...
As good as that.
And then he just said, "Oh my God, I've got in my car and you're on the radio as well." Poor Mark Gormley.
I know, it's unlucky. Perhaps he's a fan of H&J.
Yeah, so patter overload this morning.
Probably isn't. He probably hates me as well.
Well, let us know, Mark. But look, you can ask us sporting-based questions if you like. Anything. We'll deal with serious or not so serious.
You are right, though. These people that insult you, then you go and look at their timeline and they said, "Oh, family man, love the children." But you're vile.
And then it's got some kind of mantra, like, live every second like it's your last. Do unto those.
Yes.
What would be kind, spread kindness. # love. You melt. You've ruined my life. I was like, all right, well, calm down. So anyway, look, you can get in touch about literally anything. Jordan says the polyfiller of sports radio. It's back on the air.
Polyfiller. That's quite a compliment.
Do you know, once I was doing years ago, when James Whale got sacked from this radio station.
I couldn't hear you. The producer was in my ear. He mistaken me for a proper presenter. Don't do that to me, Ross.
Don't talk to us.
I'm hopeless if you do that. I don't know what's going on. I can't hear Max. I can't hear you. Right. I used to have a T-shirt that said, "I'm no Jeff Stelling." Go on, carry on.
So years ago, James Whale did the Late Show on this radio station. It was Current Affairs.
I remember, yeah.
And then he got sacked for something. We all get sacked all the time.
That's true.
And he got sacked, and I just happened to be about, and they were like, "Oh, look, can you fill in the next 6 weeks?" And so it's 6 weeks,
That's
basically.
That's your role in life, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. It's fine, but I've accepted it. It's fine. Anyway, 6 weeks of basically people going, because he what you find with these sort of cult presenters is they have a real hardcore
Oh, yes,
following.
absolutely. People are gutted when they're off.
Absolutely.
He's back now, James, of course.
He is on the excellent sister station Talk Radio, which is probably more planned currently than this is. But there's just 6 weeks of people going, "Where's James, you idiot?" And, increasingly sort of vile swear words.
Even we had that when we took over from the great Tom Watt all those years ago. And people, basically, our first 3 months was basically people texting, "Where's Tom?"
Exactly. But
then
that's
the way it goes.
Eric in Belfast sent a text. Bearing in mind it does cost 50p to text us, so you've got to think it's worthwhile.
To remind people,
yeah. And he said, "I don't know who you are, mate, but you've got the personality of a breeze block." We got a whole 3 hours of what's the worst inanimate object to be compared to, because a breeze block, it's not even heavy, is it? It's big and it's not even heavy. Anyway,
good if we actually just got in a breeze block. I think he'd notice the difference. It wouldn't be. I know you might not be mad about Max, but you would notice the difference. Anyway, I think the producer was saying to me 90 seconds about 90 seconds ago, so I suppose that's time to go.
WAFC Memory says, "Ask Andy how his one and only show with Johnny Vaughan went."
Oh yeah, that was tremendous. But that's funny enough. Who was talking? Michael Parkinson was talking about this on Graham Norton last night, saying,
"What about your show with Johnny Vaughan?"
He was making the point that whatever you do in broadcasting, the thing that people remember, like the thing with him, it's the Emu, and it's Meg Ryan. Never mind all those fabulous interviews he did, and it's the same. It's the same with us on fantasy football. People talk about Johnny Rotten and Bridget Nielsen, and it's the things that go wrong. The Johnny Vaughan show, people particularly remember. It's something about it where people like it when it all goes absolutely pear-shaped.
So what I'd advise you to do is listen for the next 1 hour and 45 minutes, and we will create history.
Yes.
It's
a show to remember by being so awful.
It's 2 mics. I'm Mike Graham and you're Mike Parry, and I don't know which is worse. Good morning, this is the warm-up on TalkSport.
I don't normally see the tweets, they keep them away from me, but this one's coming. Any chance you could talk about sport and not yourselves? Thank you. From Israel Taro. He's a bit of a card, isn't he? Carry on.
Well, we can, yes, because we've had some lots of feedback.
Well, we're going to talk about sport now. We're going to talk about Crystal Palace against Chelsea. It's a very crucial game coming up.
Do you want to do that right now?
Well, I think we should. I think Israel's right.
Israel, this is for you.
Yes.
Let's say hello. By the way, it's Max Rushden and Andy Jacobs in for the 2 mics. If you didn't notice, we will just start hurling abuse at each other.
I know. Mike's apologised to everybody for not doing the show.
Do you think he's listening?
At 11:30. Well, he just said, really sorry not to be doing the 2 mics warm-up on the TalkSport today. Our Glasgow live gig was booked a year ago. Back next week.
Do you think they're listening? Because I was doing a show, I'm not going to say which show I was sitting in for, where the presenter started tweeting going, "Calm down, everybody, it'll all be okay." Like, during the show, you're like, come on, mate.
I know.
Seriously, you know what that is, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Hey, let's say hello to Crystal Palace fan, comedian Kevin Day. Morning, Kevin.
Morning.
How are you?
Well, I'm a little bit confused because the first thing I heard was Israel, this is for you. So it's a conversation I clearly need to get some context for that conversation.
Well, we're going to, after midday, we're going into the Middle East. We're going into the Middle East peace process. No, we're going to go big into the peace process in the Middle East after midday.
I don't think we are.
I think if anyone can solve those problems, it'll be you. As long as Barry Glendinning doesn't get involved.
Absolutely right.
Kick off even worse.
So, are you in the boozer, Kev, before the game now? Where are you?
Yes, I'm in a pub with a lot of other people whose body clock is completely ruined by the early kickoff. So everyone's trying to do the same amount of drinking that they would do normally, basically.
Do you hate an early kickoff?
I can't stand any kickoff. It's not 3 o'clock on Saturday. Thank you very much, Sky TV. But there you go. It's a battle. We're not getting that genie back in the bottle, are we? Really? So
we're not.
The early kickoffs are much worse than late kickoff. Everyone's miserable anyway at the moment. So this makes it even more miserable.
Cheerful call this is.
But the only good thing is, as my mate just said, at least it gets it out of the way. We can get the rest of Saturday afternoon to moan about it, basically.
Yeah, that's what I feel about early kickoffs. And we had the Friday night kickoff against Liverpool, and of course we got thrashed by the whole weekend's gone then. At least if they lose Sunday at 4 o'clock, you've only got that sort of evening to get through. It's true. But today's game is, look, on the face of it, Chelsea in bang hot in form and Palace struggling a little bit, but you know what the Premier League's like and you know what Palace are like at home. So what chances do you give yourselves today?
I know all those cliches, and I'll give ourselves no chances. That's exactly. There's none of that. You can mention the Premier League, and for all you're worth, we're just not good enough for them. But the bizarre thing is that we're not actually playing that badly in games, but we're still losing. So when you're managing to play well and lose, and you're in trouble basically. But Chelsea have just been too good for us. It's simple as that. We might score and we might have a little 15 minutes of hope, but they got a better players, a better manager, and they're a better team than we are.
Do you think Alan Pardew's playing the right players?
Well, he hasn't got a lot of choice in terms of injuries, but he's not consistently picking the same players. That's the bizarre thing. I mean, some of his selections are a complete mystery. I mean, why he's not been starting with Ledley is really odd. Why he suddenly brought Flamini back the other night was really odd. Now Flamini's injured because he wasn't ready to come back. I don't think Pardew knows what his first choice team is really. Apart from Benteke, he seems undroppable, even though Benteke needs to watch Costa today to see what a centre forward should be playing like.
Oh, yeah, he scored goals against Chelsea though in his history. Benteke, he's got a reasonable record against them.
Again, I'll say it again. You can mention all the stats you want.
No, I know what you're saying.
It won't happen today. They're just about to. I mean, we're resigned. I mean, we're actually looking at it as good news in that our goal difference is such that we won't be in the bottom three at Christmas. And when that's the good news. I mean,
well, you have been scoring goals. Our Saturday morning producer said, he's a big Palace fan. He said it's not so much a problem scoring; it's stopping them.
Well, that's the frustrating thing because we're the fourth highest scorers in the Premier League, and last season we couldn't score for love nor money, but we weren't letting goals in. Now we are scoring goals, and from players all over the pitch, but we can't defend, and it's impossible to see what's gone wrong. It's almost like you'd imagine something happened in training or some massive punch-up, because we went from being quite competent at the back to just being disastrous, and the confidence is completely shot. You can see it in them. They don't want the ball. They're not attacking the ball like they used to. And we're all brilliant managers sitting in the stands, but something's clearly amiss at the moment, and it's hard to put your finger on why, because we are a half-decent team, but yet we're still in this problem. That's the frustrating thing.
Did you have this pessimism at the start of the season? Because I looked at it and thought Benteke with Zaha and Townsend, I thought, you're going to upset a few teams here.
We all thought, start of the season, this is the best squad we've ever had, basically. And that's another thing we're consoling ourselves with, that when Sam Allardyce does eventually take over, it'll be the best squad he's ever had as well. But the start of the season, we thought the club had actually done really good transfer business at the start of the season, and we thought that all the players that we brought in were better than players we let go. And the first two games kind of punctured that balloon a little bit, because the first two games we were dismal. But then we had a really good spell of 6 games and things were looking great. We were 7th at one stage before the international break. We were 7th and we looked like we deserved to be 7th. And then it all went crashing about our ears. But they are good players. I mean, Benteke's really frustrating because he's clearly a good goal scorer, but his work rate is just minimal. You have to defend from the front, and he doesn't do that. You watch Ibrahimovic the other night, who's a genuine legend, but he still puts a shift in for his team that Benteke doesn't. Townsend, as every single Tottenham fan told us, you can get 3 good games out of Townsend, and then you're lucky if you get one in the next 20. And that's exactly what happened. But yeah, he's still in the England squad ahead of Will Zaha. It's just the one shining light has been Zaha this season. Zaha has been outstanding. He's just been brilliant, and yet the poor little fella can't even get in the England squad because Southgate's vindictiveness. So.
Yeah, it's a very strange one, that, really. And what about Jason Puncheon? I like his player. He's back today, isn't he, from suspension?
Yeah, Punch is back, but that doesn't guarantee that Pardew will pick him, because Pardew's selection process is a mystery to us all. I mean, Punch is one of our genuine Premier League quality players, but only in fits and starts. You rarely get a full 90 minutes out of him, but you do get commitment and passion out of him, and he is a quality player. But again, the confidence thing is such. It's like him and Cabaye, two of the best dead ball deliverers in the Premier League, but not this season. They just can't. They can barely lift the ball over a wall from the corner flag. So, which again is an indication that there's something wrong. But Puncheon will be a big lift today especially if he plays him. I'd like to see him play properly out wide, but he won't. He'll play him in some sort of bizarre number 10 role, I imagine. But
Kevin, do you ever think you'd be happier if you didn't go?
Yes, well, we'd all. I'm looking at about 100 people in this pub, none of whom want to be here. It's the old cliche. It's being secure. It's the one thing. It's like my wife says. The game is kind of incidental. What we really look forward to is sitting in the same pub for the same 2 hours. For the same people talking the same nonsense, basically, and it's very rarely optimistic.
How quickly do you?
I don't know what we would do. If we got into Europe. I really don't know what I'd do.
No, but there's always. I know you say that you've got no chance today, but there's always that chance. That's what keeps you going, because you could win today, and that would make your whole week. It would make your whole weekend. It would be an incredible feeling, wouldn't it? So that's the thing that keeps you going back there.
Well, that's true, and no, we could win, and that would cheer me up. But it would upset all those people who are hoping that we lose, because then Pardew will be sacked. So you can't win. So whatever happens, even if we do win, a lot of Palace fans are going to be really upset.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, but you're right. We could win, because Chelsea. They only beat Sunderland one, and in a bizarre sort of way, you kind of look forward to seeing good players anyway. the beauty of being in the Premier League. At least we get to see good play, and also we get to see Victor Moses, and he'll get a really good welcome because he was a brilliant player for Palace and he's one of our academy boys. So I'm really pleased to see him doing well for Chelsea.
Thanks for your time. As always, Kevin. Enjoy your day.
See you soon.
Pleasure. Merry Christmas.
Take it easy. Robbie Petty writes, just tuned in. The Irish fellas cleared his sinuses finally.
Yes, I have.
almost sounds cheerful.
Yes.
Christopher says, play Culverhouse again with Andy. Oh, we could do that with 1 minute to 12.
Yeah,
you like a game?
I completely don't understand it whatsoever.
That's fine. Chris says, loving this great new combo, the little and large of cutting edge broadcasting. Was says, since when have the two Mikes ever talked about anything else but Mike Parry?
Yeah. Ben the Spurs face, he's another one of these people that likes to rub it in. He said, it's all on YouTube. Type in Vaughan and Jacobs abrupt end. It's gold. It wasn't gold for me, man. Anyone punched him after the show.
What was so wrong with it?
Because he's a brilliant broadcaster, Johnny, but he's so undisciplined. It was just it didn't fit our show at all. And I was trying to sort of steer it in its normal course. And he was just sitting with his feet on the desk like a 10-year-old sulking.
Tom says, can you ask Andy what his favourite house plant is? Obliged.
Well, that's an interesting question.
This is a good question, isn't it?
Don't have a bit. I like a cactus.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that relevant?
Well, let's answer the question. We said it's unplanned. We'll answer whatever comes in. Will says today's show, Max, is like listening to you doing a show with yourself in 20 years' time. That's
good.
It's good fun, isn't it?
There you go.
Well, we'll crack on. We'll do some more of this in a couple of minutes.
Is that half an hour? It's gone.
Yeah, I know. It goes quick, doesn't it? You've only got an hour left and it's kick-off and it's just you swearing. Good morning, everybody.
17 years, we still haven't done a good trail. It's not bad, is it?
I haven't had a good one yet, ever. This is the warm-up on TalkSport. Max Rushden, Andy Jacobs. We'll get team news from Selhurst Park in just a second. Daniel writes, so you can ask anything. Would you rather have lobster claws for hands or roller skates for feet?
Well, roller skates for feet, obviously. What use to man nor beast would lobster claws for arms be?
Well, I mean, you could pick things up still, and you could still like saunter about. If you're on roller skates all the time,
yeah, but that would be quite
there is
handy.
issues. The carousel at an airport would be.
I think you could get around that. I mean, I don't think going through an airport with lobster hands would be particularly easy. We've turned Israel round.
Oh, we have. Yes, that's
the man, not the country.
That's really
obviously.
good, isn't it? Yes.
He's admitted that the show's all right.
Yes,
well done,
feels
Israel.
guilty now.
Well, it's good for Kate Partridge just shocked me there in the break. She told me she's doing a stand-up comedy course.
Is she?
I can't imagine that.
Well,
I mean, Kate's a very rounded woman. She speaks Russian.
She said
person.
Yes. We could give her 2 minutes. Sort of open mic.
Have you heard the one about the newsreader's mother-in-law? I mean, what sort of material is she going to do there?
No, she did turn to me once and say she was doing breakfast with. She was doing breakfast with Alan Brazil, and it was he was eating a chicken leg.
Well, Alan was.
Yeah, and he has the studio really cold, and she said it was like reading a news bulletin in a fridge with Henry VIII. So that's a good opening line, at least.
A good line. That could be the basis of her whole act.
Really good, couldn't it?
Working at TalkSport.
An anonymous text is Buffon for the man crush goalie. Yeah. Sean says, "Hi Max, great show. You replaced Lovejoy on Soccer M. When will you replace? I can't read those words on Sunday brunch. I'm busy on a Sunday. At some point, though, I definitely do some cooking." Do a bit of TV show. I'm just going to make an omelette. Hi everybody. I've got Rich. We used to do I think on Sunday brunch they have that.
We could do that here.
No, we did that for a while on the Sunday warm up. They always say on Sunday brunch they're like, after the break, we'll be making scallops with Richard Blackwood.
I can't see Barry making scallops with Richard Blackwood somehow.
I don't see why I couldn't.
If I had one lobster claw, it'd be good for bowling. I'd get quite a good, Did you see?
Good for ball tampering.
Did you see my wickets that I took at Lord's the other night?
You had a party. You didn't invite me.
I could have done. I thought you were injured. I did think of it.
Do you know what? I do have a bad knee.
Yeah,
so that would have been difficult.
That's the only reason I didn't invite you. I promise you. I just thought there's no point wasting the phone call. He's got a bad knee.
Yeah, good. Kevin in Nottingham does ask a serious sporting question. Andy, why are India allowed to prepare dead, flat bat first pitches that last 5 days and bore people senseless for 4 days, yet when Trent Bridge do it, the ICC nail them?
Well, Kevin, you would have a point, actually, normally, but you have to say in this series, we were making the point the other day on the show, that they haven't done this. I mean, normally you think they got first test was a draw, second test they won, that's it. The next 3 pitches are going to be exactly like you described. But they weren't. They were results pitches. Now I think this one is, as you rightly say, it looks a bit dead. But they'll still win this match. I mean, they'll make 750, and then we'll be all out for 100 on the last day.
The knives are out for Cook, which I think is quite unfair.
That's
isn't
completely
it?
wrong.
It's an impossible place to go when none of our bowlers ever learn to spin. We don't teach spin.
I don't think it's that they haven't learned to spin. I think they have learned.
But there's no depth because you don't get wickets in kids' cricket as a spinner, do you?
Well, they don't prepare pitches here that suit it. But basically, our batting's done pretty well. We've gone over 400 about 3 times at least, I think, in this series. We just haven't got the bowlers to get them out on these conditions. Our thing is seam bowling, and it's been neutralised on these pitches. So, all credit to them. Cody's a fantastic player, isn't he?
Oh yeah, great cricketer. Oh, the phone is ringing. It's unplanned, isn't it?
You've got to find a player, haven't you, for your team?
No, this is Mum. Hang on, Mum. Hello, Mum. I'm on the radio. Okay. Did you have anything important to say, or? Oh,
blimey, Mum's hung up on him. That's not right, is it?
Martin says.
She feels bad now. She's I wish I'd
known a little
that.
bit. No, that's fine. I mean, my sister rings me on a Sunday at 11:30. That's 3 years I've been doing that one.
That's not so good, that one.
Martin L says, over 35s league in Leicestershire, we need a player. We need goals, free pie if he scores. I said we'd send Mickey Quinn on Twitter if anybody is, because it's genuinely.
He'll be doing that.
My team don't have a game today, but lots of amateur teams right now. They've had 2 dropouts this morning. No one's available the last Saturday or the Saturday before. The last Saturday you're going to play before Christmas. It is a nightmare for any amateur manager listening now. It's like he's texting everyone he's ever met. Is it Vasilevsky, the Leicester player? He's the Premier. But he's the Premier League version of your mate who plays rugby, who you get in at the last minute. Right? He's fit. He can do a job, but he's definitely basically a second row, isn't he? And they basically Ranieri just ships him in.
Say he was second rate.
Well, I'm sort of implying that. But,
you are really,
yeah. But a lovely man, I'm sure.
Well, you don't know that. You're just saying it because you're a nice person. He might be horrible. I'm sure he isn't. I'm sure he's very nice.
Does anyone know? If you could tell us how nice I think he looks really charming.
Yeah. Who likes Fabio Cannavaro? Because just look at the man, says Matthew.
Oh yeah, we're building a team loosely of attractive footballers. Pep would surely be the manager.
Yeah,
wouldn't
you
you
know this thing where people go, "Oh, Pep looks like a film director of the south of France who's done this," or Quique Sanchez Flores looks like a poet. You think, no, they don't look. They just look like football managers. I don't get all this sort of.
Well, if we're really honest about
say
it,
that they look like this or that.
We're really honest about it. That football, much like life, people look different. And it's quite hard to generalise.
Well, it was quite interesting yesterday. Thierry Henry was interviewing Pep, and Pep had a sort of sandy-coloured polo neck.
Right.
I don't know if he looked like a film director. He might have done. And Thierry was wearing a camel-coloured coat, sort of fairly similar. So they sort of kind of mirrored each other in tone.
Do you reckon they had a chat before?
They might have done. Paul and I do that sometimes. We both wear the same colour. One day we actually wore the same top. Which was, people thought we
exactly.
They thought we were like Alec and Eric Bedser, who used to live. Well, they didn't live together. They were twins. I once had lunch with these 2 blokes. They were great. Right. One was a great cricketer, of course, and the other was less so. But
I don't know who you're talking about, but that's fine.
A great pre-war bowler, Alec Bedser.
Slightly before my time.
Well, slightly before my time too. I never saw him bowl, but I know who he is.
Okay,
like 236 wickets.
No need to fight. It's turning into the 2 mics. I hate you. You fat, lousy, married idiot.
Fat that you don't know Alec Bedser. How dare you not know the Bedsers? And the fact is, anyway, so I had lunch with them, and they turned up, and they were both wearing houndstooth check suits, white shirts, same tie.
I love that.
And I said, how's that happened? He said, oh, no, we just know, we can sense it. They sensed what the other one was going to wear, that empathy between twins.
That's interesting.
It wasn't really. You've ruined my Alec and Eric Bedser anecdote.
No, you wheel that anecdote again. I look forward to it. Listen,
he hated one-day cricket.
I've traded off 3 anecdotes. I'll do any of them at any time.
Have you ever borrowed Alec Bedser's microwave?
This is the 2 mics. Max Rushden and Andy Jacobs somehow getting away with it until 1. Here's a text there. That bloke who called and mentioned Luton and punishment for his son. That is totally unfair. We're a fab club and welcome anyone except Riley's dad.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
that's not from Ian Cruz, is it?
Just say one thing and that's it.
That's life.
Yeah, Freddie Jones says, blimey, was that a soft side to the Grumptastic Jacobs on that last call? Wonders never cease.
Oh, of course, I'm a granddad. I have a very soft side. Kate, we were intrigued by your new career that you might be taking up.
Stand-up comedy.
Stand-up comedy. And then Max did one of your lines about Alan as a corker. So, I mean, it was very, very funny. So is it going to be that? What sort of style are you aiming for?
This is what I'm trying to work out, actually. You have to try all kinds of different things on doing the course. So
Well, don't do Roy Chubby Brown. I don't see that. It's not right for you, I don't think.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't think the hat would suit me, would it, really?
No.
Now, Andy, we have to have a quick game of Culverhouse because it's what the people want. So we'll be a minute late for the news, Kate, if that's all right with you.
Okay. Is Kate involved with this?
No, she doesn't.
Okay.
No. She doesn't lower herself to those sorts
I still haven't worked out the rules.
No, neither have I.
I still haven't worked out where the website is either.
Okay.
Here we go. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start easy for you, Andy, okay? Lars Bohinen.
Paul Ince.
You can't in Culverhouse. Disaster.
What's wrong with that?
Disaster. You can't have that.
Why?
Seriously, go back to the drawing board. I'll bring you in for training tomorrow. It's an outrage.
Surely
Paul
that's
Ince.
a connection
You
between
can't
Paul
have
Ince
Paul
and
Ince.
But they played in that same
I
game.
don't care.
It was
You just can't have that.
Linesman. It was that game.
It's an absolute outrage. Well, it's better than last time when you said Dale Winton.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
17 years, we still haven't done a good trail. It's not bad, is it?
I haven't had a good one yet, ever. This is the warm-up on TalkSport. Max Rushden, Andy Jacobs. We'll get team news from Selhurst Park in just a second. Daniel writes, so you can ask anything. Would you rather have lobster claws for hands or roller skates for feet?
Well, roller skates for feet, obviously. What use the man nor beast with lobster claws for arms be?
Well, I mean, you could pick things up still, and you could still like saunter about. If you're on roller skates all the time,
Yeah, but that would be quite
there is
handy.
issues. The carousel at an airport would be.
I think you could get around that. I mean, I don't think going through an airport with lobster hands would be particularly easy. We've turned Israel round.
Oh, we have. Yes, that's
the man,
really,
not the country.
That's really
obviously.
good, isn't it? Yes.
He's admitted that the show's all right.
Yes,
Well done,
he feels
Israel.
guilty now. I would say.
Well, it's good for Kate Partridge just shocked me there in the break. She told me she's doing a stand-up comedy course.
Is she?
I can't imagine that.
Well,
really. I mean,
we could give her
Kate's a very rounded woman. She speaks Russian.
She said
She's a very interesting person.
yes. Well, we could give her 2 minutes. Sort of
Did you
open
do that?
mic.
Have you heard the one about the newsreader's mother-in-law? I mean, what sort of material is she going to do there?
No, she did turn to me once
Oh,
and
yeah.
say she was doing breakfast with.
yeah.
She was doing breakfast with Alan Brazil, and it was he was eating a chicken leg.
Well, Alan was.
Yeah, and he has the studio really cold, and she said it was like reading a news bulletin in a fridge with Henry VIII. So that's a good opening line, at
That's
least.
a good
isn't it?
that could be the basis of her whole act.
It really could, couldn't it?
Working at Talk Sport.
An anonymous text says Buffon for the man crush goalie. Sean says, "Hi Max, great show. You replaced Lovejoy on Soccer M. When will you replace? I can't read those words on Sunday brunch. I'm busy on a Sunday. At some point though, I definitely do some cooking. Let's do a bit of TV show. I'm just going to make an omelette." Hi everybody. I've got Rich. We used to do I think on Sunday brunch they have that.
We could do that here.
No, we did that for a while on the Sunday warm up. They always say on Sunday brunch they're like, after the break, we'll be making scallops with Richard Blackwood.
I can't see Barry making scallops with Richard Blackwood somehow.
I don't see why I couldn't.
If I had one lobster claw, it'd be good for bowling. I'd get quite a good, Did you see?
Good for ball
did you see my
tampering,
wickets that I took at Lord's the other night?
You had a party. You didn't invite me.
Oh, I could have done. I thought you were injured. I did think of it.
Do you know
actually.
what? I do have a bad knee.
Yeah, so I
that
thought,
would have
so I thought
been
to
difficult.
myself, that's the only reason I didn't invite you. I promise you. I just thought there's no point wasting the phone call. He's got a bad knee.
Yeah, good. Kevin in Nottingham does ask a serious sporting question. Andy, why are India allowed to prepare dead, flat bat first pitches that last 5 days and bore people senseless for 4 days, yet when Trent Bridge do it, the ICC nail them?
Well, Kevin, you would have a point, actually, normally, but you have to say in this series, we were making the point the other day on the show, that they haven't done this. I mean, normally you'd think they got first test was a draw, second test they won, that's it. The next 3 pitches are going to be exactly like you described. But they weren't. They were results pitches. Now I think this one is, as you rightly say, it looks a bit dead. But they'll still win this match. I mean, they'll make 750, and then we'll be all out for 100 on the last day.
The knives are out for Cook, which I think is quite unfair.
That's
isn't
completely
it?
wrong.
It's an impossible place to go when none of our bowlers ever learned to spin. We don't teach spin.
I don't think it's that they haven't learned to spin. I think they have learned.
But there's no depth because you don't get wickets in kids' cricket as a spinner, do you?
Well, they don't prepare pitches here that suit it. But basically, our batting's done pretty well. We've gone over 400 about 3 times at least, I think, in this series. We just haven't got the bowlers to get them out on these conditions. Our thing is seam bowling, and it's been neutralised on these pitches. So, all credit to them. Kohli's a fantastic player, isn't he?
Oh yeah, great cricketer. Oh, the phone is ringing. It's unplanned, isn't it?
You've got to find a player, haven't you, for your team?
No, this is Mum. Hang on, Mum. Hello, Mum. I'm on the radio. Okay. Did you have anything important to say, or? Oh,
blimey, Mum's hung up on him. That's not right, is it?
Martin says.
She feels bad now. She's I wish I'd
a little
that.
bit. No, that's fine. I mean, my sister rings me on a Sunday at 11:30. I mean, that's 3 years I've been doing that one.
That's not so good, that one.
Martin L says, over 35s league in Leicestershire, we need a player. We need goals, free pie if he scores. I said we'd send Mickey Quinn on Twitter if anybody is, because it's genuinely.
He'll be doing that.
My team don't have a game today, but lots of amateur teams right now. They've had 2 dropouts this morning. No one's available the last Saturday or the Saturday before. The last Saturday you're going to play before Christmas. It is a nightmare for any amateur manager listening now. It's like he's texting everyone he's ever met. Is it Vasilevsky, the Leicester player? He's the Premier. But he's the Premier League version of your mate who plays rugby, who you get in at the last minute. Right? He's fit. He can do a job, but he's definitely basically a second row, isn't he? And they basically Ranieri just ships him in.
Say he was second rate.
Well, I'm sort of implying that. But,
you are really,
yeah. But a lovely man, I'm sure.
Well, you don't know that. You're just saying it because you're a nice person. He might be horrible. I'm sure he isn't. I'm sure he's very nice.
Does anyone know? If you could tell us how nice I think he looks really charming.
Yeah. Who likes Fabio Cannavaro? Because just look at the man, says Matthew.
Oh yeah, we're building a team loosely of attractive footballers. Pep would surely be the manager.
Yeah,
wouldn't
you
you
know this thing where people go, "Oh, Pep looks like a film director of the south of France who's done this," or Quique Sanchez Flores looks like a poet. You think, no, they don't look. They just look like football managers. I don't get all this sort of.
Well, if we're really honest about
say
it,
that they look like this or that.
We're really honest about it. That football, much like life, people look different. And it's quite hard to generalise.
Well, it was quite interesting yesterday. Thierry Henry was interviewing Pep, and Pep had a sort of sandy-coloured polo neck.
Right.
I don't know if he looked like a film director. He might have done. And Thierry was wearing a camel-coloured coat, sort of fairly similar. So they sort of kind of mirrored each other in tone.
Do you reckon they had a chat before?
They might have done. Paul and I do that sometimes. We both wear the same colour. One day we actually wore the same top. Which was, people thought we
exactly.
They thought we were like Alec and Eric Betzer, who used to live. Well, they didn't live together. They were twins. I once had lunch with these 2 blokes. They were great. Right. One was a great cricketer, of course, and the other was less so. But
I don't know who you're talking about, but that's fine.
A great pre-war bowler, Alec Betzer.
Slightly before my time.
Well, slightly before my time too. I never saw him bowl, but I know who he is.
Okay,
like 236 wickets.
No need to fight. It's turning into the 2 mics. I hate you. You fat, lousy married idiot.
Fat that you don't know Alec Betzer. How dare you not know the Bedsers? And the fact is, anyway, so I had lunch with them, and they turned up, and they were both wearing houndstooth check suits, white shirts, same tie.
I love that.
And I said, how's that happened? He said, oh, no, we just know, we can sense it. They sensed what the other one was going to wear, that empathy between twins.
That's interesting.
It wasn't really. You've ruined my Alec and Eric Betzer anecdote.
No, you wheel that anecdote again. I look forward to it. Listen,
he hated one-day cricket.
I've traded off 3 anecdotes. I'll do any of them at any time.
Have you ever borrowed Alec Betzer's microwave?
This is the 2 mics. Max Rushden and Andy Jacobs somehow getting away with it until 1. Good afternoon, this is the warm-up on Talk Sports. Max Rushden and Andy Jacobs in for the 2 mics here till 1. We'll see what happens to Andy when Chelsea kick off in 25 minutes' time.
I won't be doing any more fake laughter or fake jollity.
Oh, you like this tweet
joviality.
Jeremy Phillips.
Jeremy Phillips is... what I don't understand about Jeremy Phillips is if he doesn't like the show, fine. Why bother to He's taking time out of his day to tell us. It's quite amazing. We might be able to turn him round like Israel. We turned Israel round. He hated the show to start with, and then 20 minutes he said, "Oh no, it's not bad."
What did he say? Well, read what Jeremy says.
Oh, outside a children's programme, fake laughter and fake joviality really doesn't encourage listenership.
I'm with Jeremy all the way.
I don't know. He said he had to turn off. Well, he won't be listening now. Otherwise, he could.
If you know Jeremy Phillips, let him know that we're talking about him.
He might come back.
He might.
You know.
You never know. People can change their minds. John Donday writes, I can't believe at least I didn't miss that atrocious game of Culverhouse. Jacobs trying to get away with Ince. Who does the man think he is?
I don't get it. I don't even get where I went wrong.
Christopher Kennedy. Paul Ince, disgraceful form.
Really?
And then an angry face. I dropped my festive snowman coffee mug in shock. Craig says, I'm a Barnsley fan from Boston, Massachusetts.
That was real laugh. I don't want to fake.
Cool.
Was it
Would
Jeremy?
you just let us know if the laughter you're doing is real or if it's false joviality? Because that is what is upsetting the Jeremy Phillipses of this world. And we can't have that.
We can't, no.
Craig,
we brought it back to football, though, by calling him the Jeremy Phillipses of this world.
You've got your Phillips, you've got your Israels. They're the ones that we've got to try and turn around. Craig says, I'm a Barnsley fan from Boston, Massachusetts, on my way to New York on a bus full of Portuguese. I can't believe you two are keeping me sane. Up the tykes.
Yeah, it's a long way to go to Barnsley for the game. He's not going to get there by kick-off, is he?
It's a long way to go, isn't it?
Producer seemed quite obsessed about long journeys before the show started.
He really did.
That's as long way to go. New York to Barnsley. That's a long way to go for a game.
Right, I wanted to do Footballers Are Nice with you, Andy, because a few of the questions we go on with are Footballers Are Nice questions. It's a very popular feature that I do on a Sunday, and it's 16 questions. Before we do it, Andy...
That's far too many. That sounds very self-indulgent.
It's all right.
Jeremy might have a point. Go on.
It's all right. It'll get us through to the next break, and then it's nearly kick-off, isn't it? Okay. Look, you're part of the TalkSport establishment, Andy. You're right. Some people would rather we gave you the team news of Stoke Leicester. Craig Pawson, the ref. Interesting to see how Craig does.
Well, he had a bit of a mare the other night.
He did, wasn't he? Stoke. I always like to find out where the ref lives. If it's refereeing a Man United game, if he lives closer to United or the opposition, and that'll tell you.
Where does he live, Craig?
Pawson's in South Yorkshire, so it was much easier for him to get to Old Trafford than Selhurst Park. Hence why he gave that goal where Ibrahimovic punched the ball to an offside. Who was it? Pogba scored it. Anyway, look, Stoke will be without Marko Arnautovic for that terrible tackle over most of the Christmas period. They're at least well stocked in attack. Mame Diouf or Wilfred Boney will come in. Leicester would just like consistency.
Are they your words?
No, these are Nick Ames' words from The Guardian. Leicester lost 1-0 at Bournemouth.
We could have got Nick in. We didn't need to pay you the money, did we? If you're just going to read out his words.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you, Nick Ames, for this Stoke Leicester team. I just wanted to do some more football, because now we can get on with the self-indulgent. Are you nice, Andy Jacobs? Andy Jacobs, are you nice? Did you do anything nice? Andy, do you any charity work?
No, he's right. John's right. Linesman was against Holland. Bohinen was Norwegian. I know, but they were in the same Phoenix, him and Paul Ince. I can't remember what they were.
That doesn't matter. You can't play Paul Ince. You can never play Paul Ince.
Okay.
In Culverhouse. Remember for next time. Look, Andy Jacobs, what nice things do you do? Because you're known as sort of quite grumpy, and people wonder, off radio, do you do nice things? Do you do charitable work?
Well, I do. Yes, I play cricket. I do a bit of charity.
What do you mean? Like charity games?
I send Pudsey a bit of money every year.
Okay, all right, that's good.
That's all right idea,
right.
but
Okay, here we go.
Right.
Here are your 16 questions.
Okay.
If Barry Glendenning, the excellent Barry Glendenning, you like Barry?
Barry's class. He's a quality journalist.
If we were to come for dinner, what would you cook for us?
Well, I'd probably make my signature veal shepherd's pie. It's something I invented.
Did you invent? Are you sure you invented it?
I did invent it. Yeah.
What year did you invent shepherd's pie, Andy?
A few years ago. No,
8 years ago?
I didn't invent. Sorry, Richard is Jeremy, or whatever your name is.
Sorry, Jeremy Phillips.
This is real laughter. But I did not invent shepherd's pie, obviously, but I invented an adaptation of it, which
using veal mince instead of mince.
No, not mince.
Oh,
veal chunks.
Veal chunks.
It sounds like dog food, but it's not. It's actually delicious.
Well, I'll have a glossy coat if I eat
you and Barry would have a very glossy coat.
We're just eating off bowls off the floor.
That's how it works.
Marvellous. Okay, if you were to come to our house for dinner and we asked, is there anything you don't like, what would you say?
I don't like garlic, and not sort of like raw garlic. I like garlic in food, but I like melted cheese, but I don't like cheese unmelted. There you go.
All right, okay.
Cold.
Do you do your own laundry?
No.
Who does that? Mrs. Jacobs?
My wife, yeah.
Okay, right. Do you recycle?
Yes, we're forced to where we live. Otherwise, there's pain of death. And it's not just recycling. You've got to separate all into 5 different bags.
Oh,
it's
really?
really pathetic.
Okay, you don't like that, do you?
Well, I don't.
Not interested in saving the world. You could be Donald Trump's
I always
environment
say,
secretary.
You know, there I am sorting out 5 bags of thing every week, and then I go to Shanghai to visit my son when he was living there, and every single light in China is on. Do you know what I mean? All night. So I'm thinking to myself, well, when you lot turn the lights off,
that was just welcoming.
I might stop separating my recycling.
Shanghai welcomes Andy Jacobs. All the lights shine brightly for Jacobs.
Honestly, we're wasting our time here. My wife goes around turning all the lights on. I said, what's the point? Go and tell them. They're using up so much electricity. It's incredible.
So when Mrs. Jacobs turns the light off, you say, "Go to China."
Exactly.
What's your favourite insect?
None. I don't like insects. The ant. If I had to pick one, the ant. The ant's a good lad.
Good lad.
He does a good job.
Box to box, doesn't he?
Box to box. He's got a great engine. The ant. Bringing it back to sport.
Freddie says one nice thing Jacobs does is abuse cricket umpires.
Well, that's a bit harsh. I did have a go at the umpire the other night, though. Wow, absolute ricket he made. I couldn't believe it. So everybody else accepted it, but I had to go and tell him.
Were you given out?
No, it wasn't. It was somebody else. He gave out somebody he shouldn't have given out, but of course it happens.
You know. I've shouted at a ref and I'm nice. Emmanuel Frimpong said his favourite insect was an antelope.
Yes, I remember. I was listening.
Wonderful moment.
Yeah.
Do you own a onesie, Andy? And if so, do you wear it?
I do own a onesie because years ago, Sky, when they're covering the Ashes, sent all the presenters. Because you had to stay up all night watching the cricket. It was a Sky onesie. I thought it was quite impressive.
Okay. Even though it wasn't on Sky One, was it?
No, it was on Sky Sports. Well, Sky Sports onesie.
It?
It wasn't a Sky onesie.
Okay, it wasn't a play on words.
No.
Capital One tried to put me in a capital onesie. I kicked off.
Did you?
It's the only time I've kicked off on this place. Me and Barry was like, if I've got to put that on, I'll resign. And then we haven't been sponsored by anyone ever since. What's your favourite cheese? You covered cheese already, haven't you? You don't like cheese.
I don't.
Like Stephen Gerrard, your favourite cheese is melted. You're on death row. 1 hour to go, Andy. Sorry about that.
Nice. Thanks.
That's all right.
Only 45 minutes in this show.
Which TV show do you settle down to watch?
Neighbours, obviously.
Okay. Do you know what? I've started watching a lot more Pointless.
Have you?
Neighbours, yeah.
Does Alan Fletcher know about this?
He
won't be happy
about it.
He
doesn't know about
I'm going to tell him.
Okay, that's not very nice, is it?
I know.
This picture is about.
Well, he prefers you to me, but so obviously now I'll be able to sort of sway him.
Is that how you work?
Yes.
The inner machinations of.
Well, you play golf with him and everything.
Yeah, I know.
I'm quite jealous.
Oh, that's okay. If you could only eat one fruit for the rest of time, which would it be?
Nectarine.
Okay. How many toilets do you have?
1, 2, 3.
Just 3. Okay. It's not great. Schwarzer has 9.
Well, obviously he's got more problems with that area than I have, which would be amazing, really, if he has.
Do we know that for sure?
What?
What's the the inner workings of the bowels of Jacobs and Schwarzer, and who's having a tougher time? Do you have more televisions than David O'Leary? He's got 11, apparently.
No.
How many have you got?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 televisions. I mean, that is overkill, isn't it?
It is really, yeah.
It's too many. What kind of pant do you prefer?
Sort of Y front.
A Y front.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think everybody listening to TalkSport wanted to know.
Well, they didn't, but I'd imagine most men do. But a boxer, I'd never got the boxer.
I never got not the airy one. I like a tight boxer.
A tight boxer, but then that's almost like a Y front. You want something to hold you, don't you? Really, if you'll pardon the expression. Well, you know what I mean.
It's a cry for help. It's
line.
a cry for help.
Not literally, obviously. That would be ridiculous. I don't know if Eric and Alec Bedson wore the same pants.
He just wants to be
done.
He just wants to be held. Andy Jacobs just wants someone to hold me. Anyway, right, there's not long enough.
Anyway, yes, carry on.
Are you better looking than West Brom's Jonas Olsen?
No.
Do you smell nicer than Michael Carrick?
Unlikely, although I did meet Michael here. He was an incredibly polite man. He came up to me and said, "Hello, I'm Michael Carrick." I thought, well, I think I knew that, but it's very nice for you to say. Quite a lot of humility there, really.
Not to presume.
But as I've got no sense of smell, I couldn't tell whether he, was a bit whiffy, but he wasn't. He looked quite fragrant.
Also, the first time you meet him, awkward to go straight for the armpit, nuzzle and sniff.
It would have been really. It would have been a bit.
I mean, if
you would have thought a bit strange.
I've never met Michael Carrick, and I'm nervous about meeting him because obviously I've asked this question about a million times. I can't remember where it began.
Presumably a listener.
No.
Yeah.
It was. There's a footballing phrase. Cameron McGeehan, who plays for Luton now, but played for Cambridge when we played Manchester United.
Oh yeah.
Sent a tweet going, we'd drawn 0-0, and basically he had Carrick in his pocket. What he was suggesting was he had Carrick in his pocket by saying Michael Carrick smells lovely. I can tell everybody. And so we took from that Michael Carrick does smell lovely. So now it's just a moment when I meet Michael Carrick.
I can't remember Paul's telling me that David Platt was marking somebody, and he said he's some Italian player, and he smelled of Aramis.
we did. Footballers who smelt phoning, and someone had met Del Piero in a cafe, and he had so much cologne on, the bloke got a migraine and couldn't go to a job interview.
We used to have a tech op here at TalkSport. Honestly, I won't mention who they were, but honestly, it was choking. It was that much perfume. It was actually choked you as you went into the control room.
I was on a train and someone absolutely stank of perfume, and I was like, God, I've got half an hour on this train. Can I go and sit in another seat? And it's that route. So I got up and I said, it's nothing personal. I've just got to sort of have my leg outstretched because, God, it was terrible. Are you nicer than Linvoy Primus?
Probably not. He's near a religious minister.
He's not the vicar. He's not Vicar Linvoy, but he's close enough. Yeah, he's got an MBE for being nice.
Yeah.
Thanks. That was good, Andy. Enjoyed that. Okay. All right. So it's Max Rush and Andy Jacobs. Totally unplanned till 1. The text number is 81089.
That bit was planned. You'd had it written in the running order.
Absolutely right. That bit. We are Max Rush and Andy Jacobs. 60% unplanned.
They get you to read those things, and you know it's going to come out absolutely terribly. I am Britain's worst actor. I'm no Matthew Marsden.
All right, let's talk to Matthew Marsden, actor, West Brom fan. Matthew, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very. What time is it in West Los Angeles?
It's 10 to 5.
What are you
it's
like?
Early.
Wait, you mean when somebody says, "Hi, Matthew, do you want to come on TalkSport?" You don't have to say yes. Like it's okay. Like it's like.
Yeah, no, I'm beginning to regret it a bit this morning when the phone went up, when the alarm went off at 4 o'clock. So I was like,
you didn't need to set the alarm at 4 for a 10 to 5. You could have got up at 4:45. It would have been fine. It's radio. We can't see you.
No, unless you've done. Have you done 45 minutes prep for this call?
Yeah, I have to wake up. It's one of those things.
Although the hours in Los Angeles are slightly different, aren't you? I mean, you all go to bed a bit earlier because of the film industry, and you get up early, don't you, in the film business? So, you probably don't get up much later than this during the week, do you?
No, that's right, actually. You get up. You normally have to get up and get on set around, like, anything between 5, 6 or 7 o'clock if you're doing mornings. So it can be pretty brutal, as far as the early mornings are concerned. So.
Just so you know, Andy's a Chelsea fan and is watching Palace-Chelsea. So when that gasp was not at the shock of your answer, it's because Palace almost scored.
Punching, that was a good effort.
How are you enjoying this West Brom, Pulis playing beautiful football, scoring goals left, right and centre? It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. But, I mean, I think that as Albion fans, because we used to have such a bad record against Stoke, we're kind of used to that, defensive football. But I thought when he was manager at Crystal Palace, he was pretty free-flowing attacking when he was there. So I think we know that he can do it. I think that a lot of people you're used to, parking the bus at Stoke and at the Albion, to be honest, for such a long time. That's what he did. But yeah, it's a little bit weird, but. All the elements are clicking right now. I mean, Chadley's fantastic. Rondon is unplayable at times. So, it's good times to be a baggy,
Tony Pulis and Jose Mourinho got a very good relationship, which I always worry about because I always think managers, good, top managers have a relationship with sort of middle managers. They only do that because they think they're going to win. So I'm slightly concerned that they were giving each other compliments in the week. But he absolutely rates Tony, as you do.
Yeah, I think he said once that if he owned a team, that Pulis would be the person that he'd put in as a manager. So I mean, it's a very big compliment. But look, it's Man U. It's always very difficult. When they come to the Hawthorns or when we go there, any of those top teams are difficult to play against. But as we've seen this season, and obviously what happened with Leicester last season, anything can happen. Anything can happen. But like you said, the Albion, we've always been very solid at the back, with Pulis and now with Matthew Phillips and the other guys going forward. I think that, we're in with a chance.
Is the Hawthorns the thing you miss the most about England?
I do, I mean, there are a lot of things that I miss about the UK, but I really do miss that going up on a Saturday and seeing everyone and, the atmosphere. It's very unlike anything else. I mean, I'll tell you this, the first sports event I went to over here was an ice hockey game. And it was really weird because everyone sits together, like the rival fans. And you sit together, and I was sitting there watching the game, and all of a sudden they scored, and someone next to me, it was a Philadelphia Flyers fan, went up, and I was waiting for someone to come over and smack him one, I'm looking around what's going on here? But yeah, so I mean, it's that atmosphere. You don't really get it over here. That kind of it's tribal, isn't it?
It is. And Americans have a very positive attitude to the whole of sport. Joe Cole came on the fantasy football show that I do on telly yesterday, and we were chatting to him afterwards. He was saying he's now playing for the Tampa Bay Rowdies in the USL, so it's not the MLS, and he's playing for them, and he says they got done 3-0, and he comes off the pitch, and everyone's like, hey, well played, good goal, well tried, sign this for me. And he's like, God, if you lose 3-0 playing in England, they want to punch you.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, there is that kind of can-do attitude over here that, I think initially when I first came over and when a lot of Brits come over, they're very skeptical of it and think that it's false and very superficial. But actually, it gets to be really refreshing. I mean, don't get me wrong, they get angry like anyone else does when it comes to their teams, losing, but there's not that kind of I mean, look, I know I'm an Albion fan, so we always kind of are looking and going, okay, when's the other foot going to drop, and we're going to go tumbling down the table. But over here, they do tend to be more positive, and it's really good, especially for business-wise, that it's a can-do kind of place, which is great. I love it. Yeah.
Give us a score prediction for today, Matthew.
I think it's going to be a score draw. I think 1-1.
All right, top man. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for getting up at 4 a.m. for us.
Good.
That is,
you can go back to bed now.
Commitment. You're more committed than Alan Brazil to this station. Thanks so much, Matthew. We'll chat to you again soon. Enjoy LA. I bet it's 25 degrees there.
Well, yes, absolutely. Yeah, Costa's been booked, incidentally, which means he misses the Bournemouth game. That's good news.
Should have been a straight race.
Shut up. Good news for Bournemouth fans. But then MacArthur's just done exactly the same foul on Costa and got away with it. So,
so what are you saying?
Wonderfully consistent
John
referee.
Moss.
Oh, John Moss is hopeless. He really is hopeless.
He's all right.
No, he's not.
He's all right.
Oh, God, you're joking.
Who's the best one? Who's your favourite?
I like Dean, Mike Dean.
Do you like Dean? You like Clattenburg?
Atkinson. There's some very... Bobby Madley's good with the young ones, but...
I like Trevor Kettle.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
You haven't stolen his microwave, have you?
No, I haven't. Right, we're pretty much done, and I had a lovely time, Andy.
Well, so did I, really. I enjoyed the first 90 minutes. It's been a bit more difficult to concentrate the last 25.
Here's a man who's got up at 4 a.m. in Los Angeles to talk to us about West Brom, and halfway through him, opining about Nasser Chadley, and you go, oh! They were the best bits of the show. Andy's gone to watch the football. Have a lovely time.